Alright everyone, hello and welcome to episode 9 of Watching Walford, an EastEnders podcast where we talk about and review all of the EastEnders episodes every week. Likewise, welcome back to the Watching Walford channel, which is more than just one podcast. We haven't really made documentaries on characters, but we have been reporting on some news, and while retelling other people's news, and discussing some storylines, discussing things currently in the show. Aren't just the podcast. Look at us, we're not one-dimensional, Piggy.
Oh, that's right, the seal.
And obviously this podcast is just audio only, and maybe eventually one day, someday soon, perhaps, potentially, probably not, we'll use actual footage. I am your host, Ash, and I'm joined by Piggy. How's it going, Piggy?
The reason why we can't use real footage, guys, is because we're scared poopless that YouTube will retake us down.
They did slap us down last week, so.
Yeah, we were slapped down. They pulled our pants down. They grabbed our bum and gave us a big old slapping to the ass.
I mean, it's quite impressive because it's not like we even used any actual footage. We just got beamed for no reason. But they resolved it quickly, so, we're fine. How was the week?
The week has been good. Off camera, we've been preparing for my eventual debut into the streaming world.
Indeed.
So, if you like wrestling, which is going to be highly unlikely considering you get your silly fake stuff out of here, let's watch this highly real documentary of people's lives in EastEnders.
Yes.
Then, but if you are one of the few people who are like, get this, I love the fake crap that wrestling is.
Yeah, indeed.
I will be streaming in May. But
yes.
If you are here for the real, totally not fake, but real documentary of people's lives throughout the week, yes, when a woman did really abort a baby, that did really happen. It wasn't scripted. Then stick with us for a totally real, totally not fake TV show. This is a documentary. Danny Dyer did actually drown.
Yes.
Thank Christ.
I'm not committing myself to that. And with all that aside, we're going to be reviewing week 9 of 2023, all the episodes going from the 27th of February 2023 to the 3rd. And yes, obviously this week the schedule was slightly done in for both Ireland and the UK, as the FA Cup was airing on BBC 1 or 2, I don't remember. I didn't pay that much attention. And so there were 2 episodes Monday. And then Thursday, Friday? Yeah, so we're gonna go and do that. So it may seem like it's basically Monday A and Monday B. Anyways, into the show. We kick off the week with Denise. She's looking quite sad, and we also see Suki, who is looking rough. And Whitney and Zach is making tea, and apparently he put oat milk in his tea. What milk do you put in your tea, if any, at all?
That's our bonus video, guys. Thank you. This is what you came here for, not to talk about the real life people on a totally real street in real England.
London.
You came here for the real discussion of what milk do you put in your tea. I put milk. I just put low fat milk in my tea.
Oh.
Sometimes 2 sugars. I put 2 sugars in my tea when I visit my auntie. She gives me 2 sugars in a tea. I have about 10 biscuits. I have about 6 biscuits. That's because she basically, my auntie, Sharon, if you're watching, hello, you're likely not.
Lovely woman.
You're probably like,
Never
what
met
is
her.
this podcast? You're definitely not one. But if you are, hello, thanks for the biscuits. But she basically leaves out 2 packs of biscuits. She leaves either cookies or plain digestives.
All right.
or hobnobs, or the Dunn Stores equivalent of hobnobs, your knob hobs.
Big knob
And
hob fan.
basically,
Not me though.
you're not a hobnob fan?
No, I don't like them. But I don't
No.
mind them. They're just a bit bland. Is my issue.
Yeah, so it might be a hobnobs or knob hobs. It might be your cream custards.
Oh,
It
custard
might
cream is
be
big love.
it might be your digestive chocolate,
Nice.
or your digestive chocolate dark, or it
Not
might just be a bun.
not
And,
not not a dark chocolate fan either.
but like Matt Hardy in that one promo where Jeff Hardy is cutting a promo on CM Punk.
Oh no.
I somehow mentioned this both in my Pigs and Fergs, and I get to mention it again on Watching Walford. I had half an hour with Ferg telling me this was not a promo, but basically for context, Jeff Hardy cut a promo on CM Punk, and he was high off his head. But the reason I mentioned this promo is because in the background they ordered chips, or as you Americans call them, French fries. So I'm basically like Matt Hardy in that promo, scoffing down the biscuits when my dad talks to Auntie Sharon. I'm like Matt Hardy, scoffing down chips. I don't know any relationship between CM Punk and Amy Dumas.
Christ, that went on a tangent. I with tea, I usually have semi-skimmed milk and one
Oh,
sweetener, and not much milk at all, just a tiny little bit. Also, the more
skin like a
interesting,
foreskin.
semi-skimmed.
Oh, so the surgeon got halfway in to cutting your foreskin off, and then went, "No, leaving that, mate." Just like a little mohawk.
I honestly
Is
don't
that
know what to
saying
say to that.
it's a little mohawk? He's like a Legion of Doom member. He gets the cock ring on.
What?
He's a Legion of Doom member.
This has already turned into chaos. What's the best biscuit? Custard creams. I'll say that much.
Yeah, what is the best? But to me, uh, oh, I'm a big Oreo fan.
Oreo's
Or
good, but you don't ever put those with tea.
put them with milk.
Oh
Or
yeah, of course.
I'm a big cookie fan. Or I really love, because I love giving myself the shits. I really, because I'm like Ricky Butcher. I'm like Ricky Butcher. When he eats bananas, I love smelling the gaff out. My dad
What is
hates it, but I love it.
what is going
That's why
on?
I eat a lot of coleslaw. But anyways, um, I
Right.
love a Kit Kat dark chocolate as well.
Oh,
Oh, a 2-pack. The Americans are confused. In the UK and maybe some parts of the world, there is 2 Kit Kats. You can get a 2-pack, so you have your 2 fingers. You can get your 4 fingers. You only get your 4 fingers like when you're buying where your crisps would be. And basically in the UK we have all these flavors. And I love a good honeycomb one as well. I hate a crunchy. Is it a crunchy? I think it's a crunchy. I hate a crunchy, but I love the honeycomb biscuits.
honeycomb's good. I really don't know where the avenue of this podcast has gone down.
Yeah, we're just talking about tea now. So what do you put in your tea? What do you think your favourite EastEnders? Totally real people. Put in their tea.
Yeah.
Um
Not oat milk. Oat milk
on
tastes weird, I'll be honest. Tried it once. Didn't really get along with it.
Alright, hold on. I want it? Alright. Now I'm gonna have to explain this.
Oh.
Last week I have to find his Twitter. Oh, where is it? Wrestler Twitter. Last week, Dax Harwood, he's a wrestler who complains a lot.
He does.
And where the fuck? Yeah, sorry for cursing. Basically, he posted something with his oat milk, and I need to find it for you. I need to find this because I want you to have a look of I need to find his Twitter. So you'll have to bear with me 1 second.
Alright.
Yes, I found the Twitter. So
Okay.
you have to have a
Tremendous.
look at it. I hope he hasn't deleted the tweet. If he's deleted the tweet, I'm gonna be so mad. But
Podcast gonna be about 4 hours long.
You'll have to give me 1 second, Matt. Bear with me.
Oh,
Where is it? Where is this
supposed to
photo?
also fill orange juice or apple juice.
Apple juice. I like a bit of sweet.
Oh, I used to
Right.
drink a lot more apple juice, but I fell off a bit. Way too sweet for me.
Right. Here's a photo of Dax Harwood. All right.
Okay.
Now look at the cup. Is this a cup full of beans? Now it's not, but doesn't it look like a cup full of beans in
A
his
cup
coffee?
full of beans. It really does. It's iced coffee, obviously.
It's apparently when you put oat milk in your coffee, it looks like beans. Apparently.
I think it's just iced coffee. But
I also love the
that'll be a bunch
mustache
of
he
ice
has.
cubes.
I
Yeah,
love the mustache he has.
big mustache. All right, should we get back to EastEnders?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat another chocolate bar. I got this little small box of chocolate bars, and I
Nice.
can't record the podcast without eating something.
Okay, tremendous.
I'm gonna be like Kevin Nash in that one promo where he's like, "I love when I worked with Sting in Sumo Hall in 1965."
So Zach has made eggs, and he's chugging this orange juice. He's absolutely down in the best. He's trying to comfort Whitney about the baby's procedure, and is dedicated to fighting for their little P. I kind of start to realize this and went, man, I've never seen someone overact eating as much as this. Because he's drinking so much orange juice. He goes to like maybe he made a fry up. I don't know if he did, but whatever he is, he starts absolutely chowing down at snow tomorrow. And it's like, Jesus Christ, Zach.
I understand this week is going to be very topical, and there is a joke I'm going to make later in the week, so I will let that. I will say that in advance. I'm going to make a little light joke when we get to that episode. You'll find out later in the show. But can I say, and don't call me a dick, all right? But I found it very hard to believe that he cared about the baby dying. A spoiler, because he overreacts. Like he's like, "Oh no, oh my god!" You know, like that friend that found out that you kissed your mate, your lover,
Yeah.
and he's like, and he knows, he's seen it,
Yeah.
but he's like, "Oh my god, you kissed her! Oh my god, OMG, oh emojis." He's like that. He's like that. He's like, "Oh my god, the baby's dying. OMG. Oh no, Whitney, this is horrible. Our little Peach." I'm like, stop overreacting.
Yeah.
Act like she's actually dead. Don't go, "Oh my god, this is so real."
It
Next line
was
there,
a very.
Dan, next line, next line.
I
"Oh
must.
no, this is terrible." Next line.
The
Oh,
Jesus.
I'm so sad. Next line. Oh, thanks. That was a great shoot, guys.
Oh,
Thank you. Bye.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of people would actually say that you're actually wrong because I did see a lot of support for the scene with the baby, and obviously I'll get into it a bit more as it happens. But
No, it's not. It's just Whitney
it's
can
just
act.
Zach. It's just Zach
It's
is the
just
issue.
Zach, because Zach
Yeah,
is like he's like that 1 in 9 kid. He's like, "Oh my god, you
yeah.
slept with her, you slag, you slag." I'm like,
Spreads it
shut
around.
the fuck up. Actually, pretend the baby is dead and stop reading your lines and overreacting.
Oh
Like
my
I
god.
I was really feeling sad for this.
Yeah,
And then Zach was there. Zach was there, like, oh, I was like, oh no. If this was literally Max Branning, I would have been. This could have been Peggy Mitchell in his place,
mm.
dead Peggy Mitchell, and I
Oh,
would have cared even more. Like
yeah.
Peggy Mitchell, who's dead in the show, and I think in real life. So
Yes,
sorry,
unfortunately,
R.I.P. She could probably act better than Zach about this baby dying.
that's not hard.
Just stop overreacting. He overreacted eating, drinking, and then the death.
Of their
He
child.
somehow overreacted when he played Spotify. How do you overreact playing Spotify?
All right. Come on, wheel you back in, back to the bed. Have a nap now. It's all right. We'll get through it. And carry on. Denise is looking to make breakfast, but there's no bread. And she looks up the stairs, puts on a coat, and just heads out. And I just went, guess who's regretting her decision immediately, because she's just miserable. She's just had enough. This awful suburban housewife vibe. It's not what she signed up for.
I'm just waiting for Jack to be like that old man who's like, Did you see Callum and Ben kissing? Homosexuals, I tell you. Homosexual.
I
I'm
thought,
waiting for him. I'm waiting for him to become that old
I
man
thought
next.
that's what you're gonna say. Just he's on the sofa and his balls stuck out his short. Denise has to point
That
it
would
out.
be hilarious as well.
What? I can't hear you. Jack.
Did
And
you say something, wife?
we can carry
Slap.
on the episode, and we're in the Bannister household, and Nish says that the blessing ceremony has been pushed forward to Thursday. Suki and Ash look pretty upset, and Suki proceeds to start kind of complaining, just like, there's, it's going to be off. There's so much to plan. Can't do any of this with so little time. But then she's ranting and turns the tap on, and the pipe has fallen apart, and they need it fixed. She's ranting to Ash, who really doesn't seem too fussed about the idea of them marrying. It seems like she knows that something's off with it, but they haven't really followed it up yet, so. I also kind of took this week a little bit different than I expected as well, but we'll get into that more. And Nish walks in and she goes, "Hey, Vinny, I thought you were supposed to be busy making sure the tenants were happy. When are you going to do something with your life, you little bitch?"
That was Shaq now. He'd overreact and he'd be like, why don't you do something? You're like, you little bitch. Like, he'd emphasize the bitch.
And in the shop, we see that Denzel has apparently written something fantastic, like the Skull Ring Howie. And Denise bumps into Ravi with a fresh loaf of bread, and Ravi puts the pressure on, and is upset how far it nearly went, but didn't. Denise says she didn't mean to string him along, so can they forget about the past few weeks? Any benefits in their friendship? No. Maybe, I don't know. And Ravi says, you think life is that simple? Cute. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. This felt a bit scary.
I don't know what it is, but the Panasonic. Did you ever see? And now back to wrestling for a second. Have you ever seen that Triple H and Stone Cold segment with the Hardy Boys, where they absolutely beat the piss out of Lita?
My chair just felt back. Hello. Scared the life out of me. Bloody hell.
Because there's a segment where Triple H and Stone Cold absolutely beat the absolute piss out of Lita.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely violent. The Panasonics are reminding me of Austin and Triple H when they did that. Like, I'm scared of one instant Nish or Ravi are going to grab a steel chair and just absolutely batter the Walford women.
Okay. All right.
Come out to the My Time.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I don't really know what they're setting up here. I think it's now opening up a bit more because we see that Ravi is being investigated by Jack, and Denise is still getting involved, even though she shouldn't. But it's progressing. It's definitely progressing. And Whitney puts on a jacket, and Zach reveals he's got a good luck charm. Apparently your granddad had a good luck charm.
Yeah, he had a chick. I thought we were going to make a very dark joke about him, but we're not. Yeah, he had a good luck charm. He had a cock called Chuckles. Cuckles. He used to rub his cock, and he used to tell all the kids about the big massive cock that was Cuckles. Chuckles.
I don't know if that's real or not.
He sadly died in 1991.
Yeah.
But it was a massive cock. And there's photographs of it. It was a massive cock. And cock is chicken, people. I'm not on about my granddad's cock. I'm on about his cock. Like, you should have seen this chicken. Absolute unit. Giga chat. It was the Keanu of chickens.
Was it actually a chicken or like a little Mini chicken.
It was a mini chicken.
Oh, I just wanted it to be an actual pet.
Oh, although I will say a funny story about my granddad. There was kids once pranking my granddad.
Mm.
So on Halloween night, the kids went around the back garden because in my old house estate, they used basically the back garden was like basically they had a back drive through, so people who lived or in other houses could drive the cars in the back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And basically, the kids annoyed my granddad, and my granddad used to have trees in the garden, so he hid in one of the trees, and when the kids come around the corner, he grabbed them.
Oh, Jesus.
And the kids absolutely shot themselves. We're sorry, Mr. Piggy. And my granddad is there laughing.
That's absolutely mental. Alright, and Ash leaves to her job and leaves Suki to do the plumbing alone and refuses to get a plumber in. I wonder why she wouldn't want a man in the house. Well, there are woman plumbers, but I've never seen one. That exists.
Mario might get sex change, so you never know.
And Howie is proud of his son representing the school after writing an essay, and when he's asked about it, he dodges the question and leaves. Vi says that it must be pornographic as Howie spits out his tea. What did Denzel write, do you ask?
A Titanic porno. That's what he wrote.
He wrote something he saw on Netflix, but acted like it was real, as it was supposed to be non-fiction. And Mitch arrives to fix Suki's pipes, and they talk about the recent incidents. Suki thanks him for fixing the pipes and apologizes for how she acted the other day. In the end, she ends up offering him a brew. It's nice to see Suki actually talk to people like the human.
It's so weird because, like, I love this, wherein all the Panasols are like delusional. They're like, yeah, you're shagging another man. This man must be killed. This man, and you're like, oh, lads,
They don't
just you
know.
wait, you naughty, naughty, naughty. I love how they're like, this man will be killed.
I mean, it's just another idea that you doubt it wouldn't even cross the mind, as she's supposedly been a devoted wife for, I believe they said 37 years. So
Yeah,
it's you just don't expect. Plus her religion as well, it kind of would be very frowned upon. So it's
get with the times.
yeah, religion, get with the
Fucking
times.
Buddha. Is it Buddha?
No,
Oh, who's Buddha a part of?
Buddhism.
All right, at least Buddha's with the time. I think.
I got nothing.
Unless he's been cancelled on Twitter because he's too fat.
What is going on anymore? Jack is looking over some paperwork as Denise is looking to have some exciting, sexy times with him. He gives Denise 5 minutes, but she finds out that his case is to investigate Ravi. What has Ravi done? So I really don't know why.
He's done what old Hebner had done when he got fired from the Fed. He's selling bootleg T-shirts of EastEnders, and you have to arrest him.
He's selling autographs of Phil Mitchell on the street.
he's in a white van. He's like, hop in, I'll give you an autograph of Steve McFadden, Ross Kemp, Danny Dyer.
But on a serious, do we actually have any idea what he's done? So no. I don't at all. And then we see actress. Oh, do you have any more to say about it?
I was going to say it's probably a robbery.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, we then see actress and comedian who made quite the confusion on the internet, Alison Spittle. What is this? She's Irish, right?
Yeah, she's Irish.
Yeah. What happened? What needed to be clarified?
She basically posted online, "I'm pregnant," and people thought she was really pregnant. And then she had to be like, no, I'm pregnant on EastEnders. And people were so confused. They were like, "What?"
And she just kind of, I don't even know what she does. She just exists for 5 minutes.
She apparently not in the show, but apparently in real life, after lockdown, so like that brief period in 2021 where everything seemed to be okay, and
Yeah,
then
they went back.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, she apparently set up quiz shows in pubs, so
Oh,
in Ireland. I'd never been to one. Like I was underage at that point, so
yeah.
would have been 16 or 17.
Mm.
17.
And you just made the viewing audience feel old.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Like, there's a 19-year-old and a 22-year-old. 22?
Yeah, yeah.
22-year-old. I love how all my co-hosts are older than me. They're either 22 or 25. All the fans are like, "Oh yeah, these guys must be in their 30s. They must have went to college.
We've been
They must have
watching
got
EastEnders
cars.
for
They must be
years.
sleeping with women. They must be they must be good Christian boys." And we're like, "No, literally one of us is 19, autistic, suicidal, depressed. The other one is just 22, autistic, who works in leather work."
Probably have some of the
That's
other
it.
qualities there, I'll be honest.
He's also an editor who loves horror films. And I'm gonna make a sandwich. I'll wait till he gets back to make the sandwich.
Alright,
So,
you can
how are
go
you
make the
guys?
sandwich.
How are you guys? You good? It's just me. I'm sat here all alone.
I mean, I'm still
He
here.
leaves. He leaves me
I barely
sometimes, you
left.
know. You know what he does half the time, audience. He does what Jack Brannon does. He shouts at me, but you don't see it. He shouts at me. He roars at me. He tells me, "Do something with your life, you little bitch." He like he's like, "I'm autistic. You can't say anything mean about me." Like he uses it as a benefit, and I'm like, "Mate, no." But he's like, "I'm autistic. You can't say anything mean about me. I'll cancel you on Twitter." And I'm like, "Oh my god, guys, this
Indeed.
probably I'm gonna be caught." But I just want to talk to the audience while he went out and made a hot chocolate.
I am still here.
Oh, hello. I didn't know you were here. Sorry, guys.
Alright. Um, yeah, we clarified Alison Spittle. She was not pregnant. True story.
No,
And carrying on the episode, Whitney says, "Are we like gonna put the baby in nurseries?" And Zach is kind of like, "I don't know. It depends on the rent and costs." And she asks if he would give up being a chef for the baby, and he says yes. Zach plans to fully commit to raising the child. Good lad. Still hasn't told her about the HIV though. And speaking of which, Zach was about to tell her, but she interrupts and decides to just let this go. He's just gonna like, well, maybe not the time. As Wick gets called for the scan. Suki then talks to Mitch and they talk about kids, being a mum and how nobody wants to do business with them. She's opening up about their life without Nish as a single parent, and they both relate. Suki describes how much she was struggling living, struggling financially, and just mentally exhausted. And Suki proceeds to give him a handyman job, just to help out, manage any properties. And she sees him out the door as Nish sees this and immediately thinks that they are pumping. And as we've already mentioned multiple times on the podcast, he has a very bad track record with jealousy. As you know, the last person he was jealous of got murdered. Sound. Very reasonable, Nish. Then Whitney and Zach get told that their baby has Edwards syndrome, and that there is a very high probability that the baby will die shortly before or after birth. And Zach is hurt by this as Whitney just loses all of the colour out of her face. Pretty harrowing scene, but yeah, slightly done in by Zach, kind of overacting it and being like, no, just look, there's all these studies, right? This person's 40 years old. And Whitney's just like sat there, just like crumbling inside. And Nish walks in and says You were too busy having tea with Mitch Baker. She explains how they had a leak and Mitch saved them a huge call-out fee. And Nish tells his wife that entertaining a man in their home alone makes you a whore. Man, I really dislike Nish. Like, he's a great actor, but I really dislike the character. And Zach wants to fix this, but struggles with the revelation as Whitney looks on in shock. The doctor says that Edward syndrome is a life-limiting diagnosis, and Whitney quickly says thank you and leaves the room. He wants a second opinion and wants to look at the options as Whitney is shutting down. She recognizes that the baby is going to die and that she couldn't sit there and watch the suffering of their child. She reminds him that it's not about them anymore, and says she can't risk letting them suffer. Whitney is going to have the termination. Episode 2 on Monday opens up as Whitney's holding the stomach and just kind of looking in the mirror as she hears Jordan crying in the background. One thing I realized, I'm not sure if anybody else has noticed this, but I swear to God, this is the first time I've seen Whitney have a baby bump. It should just not been there otherwise. Maybe it's just the right time, but like I've never seen it otherwise. And Zach is on his computer googling the effects, and Sharon's talking him through it. She says there is no right choice for this, and that she is sorry, but he has to recognize that Whitney is having to deal with this like inside her body. I just want to note, Sharon is looking amazing. She lost a lot of weight and is looking really healthy. It's just cool. It's just nice to see.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't
get somewhere
happen.
life. It's no longer a little bitch.
Hopefully it doesn't go like all the other times where Sharon loses it for a bit and then just puts it all back on. So, hopefully. But regardless. And Suki wants to change her appointment for her hair, but as obviously the Blessings appointment or date has been pushed forward, Denise can't manage and Suki's getting particularly stressed. And she then gets another call as Vinny's doing a terrible job of managing the tenants, as he was given the job as when Nish transferred half the businesses to Vinny, it created a big problem. And Stacy's van gets a makeover, and Eve calls Stacy Grandma. Somebody's a big fan of that, I bet. I mean, it's happening soon. She will be a nan. And Big Mo will become a great.
She turned into Jean.
As in the end, probably. And Howie's son tries to tell Howie how he made everything up, but Howie is not. He's not hearing it. And Howie just says, "Listen, all right, I'm by your side the whole time, no matter what. We'll manage it." And we both went, "Man, this feels like they've done this. Someone's stealing someone else's essay and passing it off as themselves." I couldn't think of a soap example, but it does happen in the Netflix show Sex Education, which is actually a banging show, and everybody should watch it.
I'm thinking of Jack Wyatt's version, Bad Education. Never mind.
Yeah, there's a character called Adam Groff, who's like the principal's son, who's a bit dumb and a bit garbage, and he buys one of Maeve's essays. Maeve is like the slightly smart but a bit abrasive and main love interest of the show, and he gets this award and he has to deliver it in front of the in an assembly, and just gets falls to pieces essentially. And yeah, but it's definitely been done in soap before. It's got to have. But it's one of these storylines, and it's not the most interesting. Chelsea tries to talk to Whitney, but she's struggling. Whitney says maybe some people aren't made to be parents, and then proceeds to open the door, and Whitney sees two women just pushing a pram past Whitney, and it's just like, oh man. Classic EastEnders framing. let's put the woman who's currently losing her child around a bunch of babies. And Amy spills the gossip that Ravi's got a date, as Denise says, yeah, you ought to stay clear of men like that. I just wrote, lovely irony. Silly Denise. You didn't stay away from him. And how he finds out that Denzel lied about the whole poem, and figures out that he may as well play along. And Denzel agrees to get his grandparents to tell their story, which Howie is stunned by. Also just wrote, the journalist was very pretty. Very, very, very pretty journalist. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm just commenting on everybody's looks this week. Then again, it's mostly just been me being like, "Oh, Ravi, whoa, look at the size of you." So we appreciate everybody on the Watching Walford channel. And Whitney goes. And Whitney goes to the hospital for the termination appointment as Zach comes to comfort her. Suki gives Mitch an extra job, and they have a good chat as Nish interrupts over wedding invitations. Nish says to invite the ones worth inviting. And Howie asks Denzel what he has written. And they essentially, they go, all right, fine, let's lie to the journalist. We need to find a fake grandparent. We already said they agreed to it, but I'll just blame the error in the notes. And Whitney
could they not just say that Granny died of a heart attack?
They could, but you can't really sell that. Well, that would make it a tragic story.
Could have just meant, oh look, the Granny just died there coincidentally on Wednesday. I know you came here on that.
This was actually written in tribute.
This is in tribute to my nan. Shout out to you, big black nan.
All right. And
cut that out, please.
I'm not cutting out anything this episode, so you best rein any of the edginess in.
Oh, wait till you get Thursday's episode.
And Whitney is glad that Zach is at the hospital, and he says that there's no good option unless you believe in miracles. She says she was praying for a sign, and Zach is very anxious. She apologizes to him, but he reminds her that no one has done anything wrong. And Whitney decides she's going to go to the loo, but just as she leaves, she gets called. So they're like, well, you'll have to wait. And Nish wants to celebrate with the community and invites Honey, which is fun because Honey was the first woman Suki got close to and tried to make a move on. And Nish keeps Suki confined to the shop as he gets Eve to collect her. Okay, I tried to write the phonetically so I could pronounce it. The sharara, her dress.
Skip it.
She tried to collect the dress for the blessings, or the
that'll do.
outfit for the dressing. Just wanted to be conscious and try actually be not just culturally blind. But I probably butchered it, so let's just not. Denzel talks to Amy and reminds him that Dad shout and take over, which is their way of showing they care. But Denzel then wants the prank nugget with peanut butter spreading up the shoe, because apparently peanut butter looks like dog poo. Alright. And even Stacy is stressed out about this launch of the van. As the launch of the van is struggling, she makes excuses and says she has to do this, but this results in Stacy taking Suki's sharara and runs off with it, essentially just to go and yell at Suki, saying, "Oi, stop it! Let Eve move on." And Whitney says, "I don't want to go through the termination," and Zach tells her that they have to be brave. He says, "You're the one suffering, so our baby doesn't have to," as she resigns herself to actually undergo the termination. Stacy then gives out to Suki, complaining about her treatment of Eve and demands that she starts treating Eve with some respect. as Eve shows up and sends her away. Whitney is told how the termination is going to work. It's 1 tablet a day and 1 tablet in 2 days. That will induce the labor so they can, fully... What's the word? Just induce labor so the baby can be delivered. And how he gets excited and asks if Patrick can act as Denzel's fake granddad. Mitch tells Nish about his tenant's plumbing he was supposed to fix, and in a fit of jealousy, Nish calls up Ravi and suggests that there's an issue he needs to fix. Jealous ego boy here thinks that Mitch and Suki are pumped.
Mm-hmm.
And in the final scenes of the episode, the sad scenes of the episode, Zach and Whitney hold hands as he opens up to her about how he couldn't deal with being on his own.
Okay, can I just say,
Can we just
Zach
finish
just
this?
went. What?
Can I just finish this last bit, then we can get into it a bit more?
Okay.
They say their goodbyes to the baby and that they love their little peach. Whitney takes the tablet and they both look distraught. Alright, what were you going to say?
Imagine. Sorry, let me just chew the crisp then. Imagine he just went, I know this is an awkward time, but the reason I left you is I have HIV. Is that too much of a moment? I have HIV and I ran out, and yeah,
Well,
it's this big thing.
I
know
didn't
we're
mean
saying
to
goodbye
make
to
it
our
like
people,
me. I didn't mean to make it about me, but it's...
but I know we're talking about peaches here, but I do have HIV, and I would recommend you go to a doctor.
I mean,
just
yeah, just imagine that. But regardless, yeah, it was
imagine that. Just Whitney looking at him like,
are you taking the piss? Like now,
that's the first
now
ever
you
time
tell me.
someone swears on EastEnders. She's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And that's
Yeah.
how they end the episode.
Yeah, obviously it's a pretty harrowing scene because there have been times where they have dealt with like terminations of pregnancies, but I don't remember any of them being as kind of vivid and frank as this one. So it was or at least none that I really remember. And even if Zach may overact a lot, Shona, Whitney's actress, does an amazing job of expressing how it feels, and they shed enough light on the issue, and I think it was a pretty bold decision to just terminate the pregnancy, because I felt like there may be some people who would have been very upset at this fact, even if the baby had a condition that meant it would likely die anyways. But it was a very important thing to do, and I hope it sheds some light on Edward syndrome and the effects that it can have, and also just giving the people dealing with this sort of stuff the right amount of time and the right amount of respect and help to deal with something so important. Thursday the 2nd, we open up with Vinny putting a photograph on the table. It's them at their initial wedding ceremony, and Nish invites the Slaters and directly invites Eve. He kind of seems to think that she's trying to get out of it, but essentially says, hey, the blessing's at the house. And Eve is like, well, I'll think about it. Howie buys a coffee and is stressing out about Denzel's grandparent situation. He already grafted to get Patrick along, but they're struggling to get a fake nan. Any tips on finding a fake nan?
Wrestling sites might have a fake granny because there's stunt grannies.
That's true.
You could get an urn and say, look,
sorry,
been a tough week.
It's
been a very tough week, but here she is. Here comes the bride, dressed in an urn.
And Jack and Denise talk about Ravi and are alarmed when Amy walks in and says Ravi came home early and was being very promiscuous. Being very sexually promiscuous, very openly and flat with said woman. Jack gets a bit angry and says, "Listen, right, I'll sort it." Denise goes, No, I'll sort it. It's better to not ruin the investigation." So it's not over just yet. I feel like Denise and Ravi will continue and be a full-blown affair. Unless it does just go that Ravi actually did commit some actual crimes and it's something to be worried about. And Whitney is in pain and is struggling to deal with the termination. She tries to push everyone away, but everyone is there to try and help. Chelsea sits her down, Zach walks in with 2 cups of coffee, and Felix says, "Hey, let's watch a movie." And Whitney snaps back saying, "Yeah, let's watch a good comedy whilst my baby dies inside me." And it's just like, oh, yoy. You know.
What a line.
Nice.
Line of the week.
It's a bit too sad to be line of the week. For me, personally. And yeah, Felix just pats Zach on the shoulders as Whitney says, "I want to be left alone." And Zach tries to comfort her. Lola and Jay arrive home from Disneyland, and she's got some Mickey Mouse ears on. Lola, that is. And Jay sees Ben and says, "Yeah, listen, alright, Disneyland weren't cheap." And Ben's like, "Listen, alright, I can do... if I can't do that... Like, if I can't do anything, but I can do that," essentially saying. And... do I even go for this?
Wow.
Did you say apparently you thought he was gonna say, "Don't worry, she's dying, I'll sort this"?
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll sort it. I mean, she's dead soon, right? So, what's a bit of cash? That is not what he said.
Imagine he was like, all right. I know you want her dead. So let me just go back and get this shotgun. We'll go out to the shed. You won't see anything. It'll all be over.
Rocky introduces Howie's stepmom. It's Vi, or the. I don't know. I've never actually heard her talked about, other than people on Reddit saying she's the worst character on the show. She agrees, but only if Denzel teaches her how to use the computer. Then we see Chelsea, Felix, and Zach all in the cafe talking about Whitney. They says they'll all be there to support her, and all they want to do is help, but it's hard to come to terms with losing the baby. Now, some people may say it's only so developed, but pregnancy is hard regardless. You're still carrying around an infant in some form, so they're still losing a baby. It doesn't change the fact. So it's pretty rough. And then Keanu walks in and tries to support Chelsea, who says, "Listen, all right, let's just be friends for a little bit, but in a couple of weeks when all this is when it's less hectic, we'll figure it out." And meanwhile, Nish wants Ravi to keep an eye and possibly sort out Nish, but as he's just really jealous and furious, Ravi's kind of like, "Yeah, but wow, you barely talk to me, but now you want me to be daddy's best son, like what do I really get out of this?" And then Suki essentially goes, "Why? What the hell are you doing? Like, why are you, like, come on, are you taking the piss?" And then we see Eve in the cafe. She talks to Zach and essentially goes, "Listen, right, the more they push you away, the harder you've got to push. Just want to know, obviously, depending on the situation, you don't want to get a restraining order put against you." And yeah, Zach says thank you. It's like, all right, this helped. I appreciate it. Nish explains to Suki that he can't control himself when she's with another man. And he also says he couldn't say he wouldn't. He essentially suggests he'd probably kill someone again if Suki was with them.
Only one man can do that. Only one man can kill a man and get away with it.
Phil Mitchell.
Reese.
He is the next serial killer.
Apparently, according to half the Reddit, half the internet.
Yeah. And Suki essentially goes, "Listen, right? I'm marrying you tomorrow. Right? I'm gonna let you take the bullet for this. You said that Nish looked like John
What?
Lennon.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
He does. He
Do you
has
want
the long hair. He
to?
has the glasses.
All right, there we are. Nish looks like John Lennon. And Anissa walks in and tells Ravi to keep it in your pants. Ravi says, "I'll keep it nice and safe, just the way you like it." Ah, fun scene. And then we get back to Nish, and Nish is like, "Listen, right, Suki, I love you." They hug. Nish initially goes for a kiss, but Suki just kind of holds the hug. Just like, "Yeah, nah, I'm good, mate." And Whitney looks at the baby photo, and Zach says, "Be angry at me because I did stop you." And Whitney says, "I'm not mad at you, I'm mad that our baby died." Fair enough. And then Ben is seen angry as he's losing money. He's apparently been paying 3 times more than he's supposed to, as Lola walks up to him and essentially says, "Yeah, I kind of spent a little bit too much at Disneyland. Like a good couple grand." And then Ben's just kind of like, yeah, I'll sort it. Be in your account by the end of the week. He's going to do some dodgy stuff to get that money, isn't he?
Yeah.
And Denzel's fake grandparents are forgetting their lines and bickering as Denzel walks in. Denzel just kind of goes, "Is this really the best you could come up with?" And just storms off, like, upstairs. And meanwhile, Whitney is talking with Zach, and it's like, "Yeah, I did the right thing, didn't I? Like, I'm sat here with my baby dying in my body. I'm her mum. Like, I'm not supposed to let her die." And Zach says, "No, you don't. You were going to be the most amazing mum. It wasn't supposed to be for either of us." And Whitney says, "This is happening for both of us." And Zach plays a lullaby, and they both cry and mourn their little girl.
Okay, can I just say?
Oh, yeah, alright, Christ.
Can I just say, could you imagine if he plays it and then all you hear is, "Upgrade to Spotify Premium, you get unlimited ads," and then a Viagra ad plays?
Or just like a
Or
baby's nappy advert plays. They just
Oh,
go
or as
full
someone said that I'm not
dark
going to
humor.
name for legal reasons, someone said to play a Blue Chew ad.
Yeah, it was once again, it was a good scene to still show that it's really hard to lose a child no matter what, and it's a situation that no parent would ever want to be put in. So they did portray it very well. It was a very sentimental scene, and it was important to have. And Suki says, Eve bursts in, and Suki essentially says, "If you're looking for Nish, he's not here." And Eve is like, "Listen, right, I won't show up tomorrow." But then before she leaves, they have an argument where Eve is like, "Listen, right, this is the worst thing you could do. You're in a loveless marriage. You hate him, and he's just going to keep hurting you and, like, essentially just destroying you." And Eve tries to kiss her, which Suki doesn't go for. But Suki says, "Just go," but not before Eve says, "You're lying to yourself." And the door quickly opens and then slams shut as someone has heard Eve and Suki talking. What do they know? What have they heard? And is the secret out? And for the final episode of the week, Friday, March the 3rd, as Suki receives a text from Eve while she's prepping for the big day, and Eve is a double texter. What a bastard. Can't be double texting, come on. Have
Are you a
some
double
decorum.
texter?
Depends if I need to be. I'd probably say yeah. I don't really restrict stuff to just one message. Just kind of comes out as it comes out, really.
You can tell I'm a double texter.
Yes. Yes.
I send like 5
A
messages at once.
quadruple text.
What did you say?
I said a quadruple texter.
Yeah, I said
Five times.
basically for people who don't know, basically whenever I text Ash, I'm 1 minute it's about like, oh, have you seen this wrestling match between such and such? And then I'm like, oh, also I have an idea for EastEnders, but also I have an idea for your easily entertained channel.
Mm.
Then Ash is just like, what the fuck do I respond to?
I'm just like tired. I've had a long week. Just kind of like, oh Jesus Christ, just just let
Also,
me exist.
also, I'll have to send you these crisps. These were the most gorgeous crisps I had. These were Kyo's grown with love in Ireland, mature Irish cheese and onion.
Oh,
And oh,
does sound very good.
I was trying to chew not on camera because it was a bit
It
rude.
hasn't picked it up at all, so I appreciate that.
Oh, thank.
As will the audience. All right, and Whitney is then seen walking into the living room, and Zach says, "Listen, all right, I'll clean up." As Whitney just looks just more and more sad. And Suki's drinking tea. The kids arrive and they all have breakfast together. The atmosphere is very frosty, though, as Ash and Suki seem fairly upset with the wedding, and Vinny's kind of like blindly working and following his dad. The fake grandparents have a disagreement and they storm out. Howie says, my son will be the joke at school. And June is apparently the wedding designer for Cat and Phil's wedding. So, tremendous. It's going to look like ass.
No wonder the person dies at the end of the year.
They were just disgusted by the decor.
Oh my god, you put pink with cream. Oh my god, Gene. Oh my god.
Oh, I'm going to have a heart attack. Oh, it's...
They have to do the EastEnders heart attack or any soap heart attack. They have to go,
Yeah. Excuse me.
Then they have to fall through a table
Yes.
that's been convincingly placed.
I once fell through a table once. Wasn't having a heart
You,
attack though.
wait, did you break the table?
I was absolutely pissed drunk and I fell through a table with all of the booze on it.
Was
And
it a
so
plastic table?
it was a plastic table, yeah, and all of the booze just fell on my face. That was a fun night. I got blackout drunk. I was nuts.
I've never been to a party,
I
so
woke up I woke up laying in a nettle bush with my trousers around my ankles.
all right, lads. It's a bit stingy, isn't it?
Yeah, and
You've just...
afterwards I was just like, oh, Jesus, my arm just really hurts. And they're like, you fell in stinging nettles. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, got it.
I completely, I remember one time, my oldest day, I used to live in multiple houses, people. I remember my oldest day in Avondale. I'll just say the name of it because no one knows the town.
Yeah.
Basically, how can I describe this? Basically, if you, this is going to be very confusing. Basically, there used to be this estate, Knocknagrania it was called. And basically, there used to be a football field at the back of Avondale. And so
Yeah.
you could basically walk it and jump the wall to get into Knocknagrania.
Oh, okay.
And basically what happened is I went to jump and and thankfully the dog was in someone's arms. So when I went to jump the wall, I completely fell. I did a cough and drop and stung my arms and legs.
Oh, the pain.
And they were like, oh yeah, we'll just fix you up. And they gave me cream and everything and then I went home. I never told my mom or anyone. So yeah.
First
Kind of
time
that
secret reveal on the podcast.
it's kind of like, you know, like when you have that, like most like that happened to me recently as well, where I was in the cinema, I was going to see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania,
Yeah.
and there was this child with her mom, and I get a frozen Fanta whenever I go there. I get a frozen Fanta on a Friday as well
Yeah.
for my tablets. And on the Tuesday, no Wednesday, on the Wednesday when we went in, the mom put her legs in so I could walk in the aisle because we sit at the very back of the cinema. You
Yeah.
don't sit up front.
No.
If you sit up front, you're perfect. But
you're mentalist.
yeah, so basically the mom put her legs in, the kid didn't. So I tripped over the kid, spilled a little bit of the slushy onto another chair, and just awkwardly went, sorry. And then my dad went, ha ha, you twatted yourself, ha ha. Not to be funny, but that absolutely felt bad, didn't it? And I'm like, oh my god.
I this is a completely fresh one. Earlier today, I was in KFC, and we previously had like this like really good burger from a separate place. It was one of the mobile vans. Um, but we were in KFC because we decided that we wanted hot. Because love a bit of like heat and spice. Big fan. But I obviously went to wash my hands because the burger was messy. Like, I thought it was a one-handed job. It was a two-handed job. You know, you had to get a full-on grip. Otherwise, it would just break apart.
I love a good burger that absolutely you have to get a grip on it. Oh,
Mm,
that's a proper burger. If it's a burger where it doesn't fall out of the sides, is
yeah.
it really a burger? A
But
burger
regardless,
has to be like a kebab.
I washed my hands and proceeded to like open the door on the way out, but accidentally twatted a woman walking by. We both went sorry, and then laughed it off. But I felt terrible.
That's like whenever I'm in a shop, because you know my height, I'm about 5'11",
Yeah.
maybe 6 foot in boots, and
Mm,
I wear boots.
yeah.
Um, it depends. Sometimes I might be wearing Vans boots, but I usually wear non-zip up boots, just normal boots, where I
Yeah.
don't have to tie laces. Because for people who don't know, I can't tie laces. I
Oh,
absolutely suck at it.
just never learnt properly.
No, I never learned.
Oh.
I was supposed to go to classes, but then Francis, who I will dox, my real mother, Francis was like, "No, my child shouldn't be going to them things. They're brainwashing." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." So I've never properly learned how to tie laces.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm in a shop and a kid runs past, I nearly almost do a test big boot to them because they always run right past me, and I'm a pretty fast walker. So I walk kind of like my arms swinging, like I walk like John Moxley when
Oh
he's about
no.
to gig himself. Like I'm a pretty fast walker, and I absolutely nearly twatted a few kids before walking. So yeah,
Fair enough. Yeah. So
because it's
it just we're
that's just how I walk. I'm just a
just
fast walker.
yeah, just accidentally battering people.
Yeah, where you're like, yeah. I think I'm trying to remember, but I think now you're going to be so confused. So basically, our local Tesco, when you cross the road, another story I have. This is my dad. When you cross the road, you can go into Tesco, so you can hop a wall and go into Tesco that way.
Hmm.
And basically, one time there was this lady walking a dog, and my dad, he hopped the wall. He just about nearly stood on the dog and he said, "Oh, shit, sorry." The lady awkwardly went, "Oh, it's all right," and just walked on.
Oh. Nothing's funnier than people trying to get over a wall and just twat themselves on the way down.
Oh, my dad's done it plenty, nearly. He always hits the back of his ankle against the wall.
It's just when you get to a certain. I'm saying this as a 22-year-old man. But regardless, yeah, it's just you reach a point where you're not nearly as agile or like mobile as you used to be. So you just start tripping over and hurting yourself a lot more.
I The problem is when I get over because our local Tesco wall is a very small wall.
Hmm.
I do the full. I spread my legs open and then hop over the wall.
Hmm.
So I'm just scared one of these days I'm gonna wear my pink shorts and I'm gonna end up doing a jack when my ball starts hanging out.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to the episode. That's a lovely session of stories. And somehow we got there from saying Jean is the lead wedding designer. That's quite impressive.
Doesn't Jean look like my auntie, my great auntie?
Yes, she does. And Eve bumps into Suki, and Suki says, "Listen, alright, just leave me alone. Like, it's hard enough for all of us." And she agrees to stay away. Like, she says she's not going to go to the wedding. And Patrick talks to V in the calf, and they slowly agree to help Denzel. And Vi, in the nick of time, accepts, and they head back to the house. As Nish has gotten Suki a gift and offers her this like beautiful necklace. And Suki essentially goes, yeah, the honor's all mine. It's really unconvinced. And Whitney is seen looking sad as her and Zach are about to enter the final stage of the termination, where labour will be induced. When asked if Whitney wants time with her baby, she says no, as it seems like she couldn't handle seeing them unwell. And Suki looks through the wedding invitations as Vinny arrives suspicious, and starts saying that he knows she is sleeping with someone else. He says he heard Eve saying that she needs to tell Nish, and demands to know who he is. And Suki essentially goes, yeah, that was just this one guy that was just there. You know, he was, we just had this connection, but Nish can't know. Yeah, etc. You know the deal. And Patrick and Vi deliver their performance in front of the reporter, saying he gave her the kiss of life. And then the reporter pulls out a big, mighty camera, like a big shutter and a big lens, and essentially goes, "Can you recreate it?" Which was not a part of the plan. They both
Imagine that wasn't scripted. Imagine that wasn't scripted, and the producer sat there, whatever the producer's name is. Imagine that wasn't scripted, and he was like, "Look, lads, I've got a great joke." And the actor who plays Patrick, he's gonna have to kiss a woman on camera, and I'm not gonna tell him. So Patrick's just sat there in character. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be great. All I have to do is just pretend. I have to say these few lines. I'll nail it because I'm a great actor." And then the producer's like, "Okay,
Now
3,
kiss.
2, 1, now kiss." He's like,
Oh, it's alright. They
"Trish, come
didn't
here,
show
come
it
here."
on screen.
Yeah, but imagine it was like that's the alternate take.
Oh,
He's
that would
just
be,
sat there like,
big old Prankingtons.
he's just like, "Chris, come here. I didn't agree to this. We are paying you. I didn't agree." And he's like, "But we are paying you, so do it."
And yeah, back to Vinny and Suki. And Vinny's overly aggressive, and Suki just opens up about this intense connection that she's had with this man. Vinny tells Suki, "Look, is it over?" And she tells him that it is, and demands that that he never tells Nish, as Nish would kill whoever got in the way. And Suki decides that today she'll do the right thing, and convinces him to keep stum. Good job.
50 quid PayPal, and I won't say anything.
And Whitney is seen walking around the room. They're talking names as she feels this sudden pain and some convulsions. She freaks out and panics to deal with this, and as he says, as Zach says, maybe Peaches isn't ready to leave her mum, which makes her cry. I feel like I'd cry in this situation. That's just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
What would you name your child, anyways?
I don't know.
Oh, that's a bonus episode. We're just going to talk about what we name our children.
Talk about it in the post show, maybe. Get some ideas flowing. And Suki walks down the stairs in full wedding attire. She sends a text to Eve saying that Vinny knows, but it isn't an issue anymore, and blocks a number. As Nish walks in and sees Suki and takes her by the hand. Stacey is seen making a bap and talks about Suki's wedding. Eve realizes that she needs to be there for Suki, as she is confining herself to pronounce her love for someone that she doesn't love in front of a lot of people, and for the people who just don't want to be there. And B, gonna let you take this away. The state of Harvey.
Hopefully the thumbnail of this episode.
Yes.
Now I understand, I respect the religions. I understand that you respect them.
Yes.
Unless you shove your religion down our throats and like you're going to hell, then
Well,
I don't
they're
respect
going to
it in
someone's
that.
blessing of their marriage.
Yeah, I understand. Like they have to wear whatever they're called. I don't want to say the name in case I butcher it, but Harvey doesn't wear one of them. He wears a do-rag.
Well, it's
He shows
just
us wearing.
obviously
He shows us wearing a do-rag.
Obviously, it's the idea
Watch me while I whip this thing out, baby.
to cover the hair, as it's a sign of respect, I believe. Not entirely sure, but
Slater said, that he why is his face so flat? His nose sticks out, and I said like Frosty the Snowman.
sound. And everyone arrives in the traditional blessing attire. Honey and Janet, Ravi and Nugget, and finally Eve, which Suki is quite pleased about. And otherwise, the reporter is actually convinced by Vi and Patrick, and they are offered a romantic dinner at a Michelin-star restaurant. Well, as long as the reporters can come along and film the whole thing. Honestly, I'll happily see more of Vi and Patrick. It's great fun.
Is her name Violet or File?
I don't know. It's just Vi or Vi. I don't know.
She is a great character, in my opinion. She is that confused granny.
Yeah, well, the issue isn't with the issue is that the character's kind of it is Violet. It is Violet. But people don't like her because she's a bit wooden, as far as I can tell.
Well, I prefer her over Sack. So
Jesus, that's a hot
like,
take.
like she just reminds me of my nanny. Confused, scared of this society. Wants to use a computer. My nanny never used a computer, but
No.
wants to use a computer, play bingo. Like, she's just a sweetheart who's confused.
Yeah.
She probably says the F slur off screen and says the N word because she thinks it's the 50s. Well, we'll give her credit. She might be racist, but she's old and senile.
Yeah,
And she's
but
lovely.
she does have a gay son, though.
Yeah.
Well, not
great
son, grandson, indeed. And yeah, Suki and Nish's blessing continues. And then we kind of cut back and forth between this and Whitney, as we then see Whitney struggling to deliver the baby. Whitney cries and says she cannot do this, as Zach says we need to be strong for little Peach. But yeah, Whitney's struggling a lot. And the baby finally arrives, and they embrace.
To me, this should have ended the show. Like, to me, this should have been the Julia theme. I understand Peach is not technically a real death,
Well,
even though she technically is.
It still is a death.
This
They
gets
still
confusing.
died. This could have been a Julia theme. I do agree.
Yeah, this should have been a Julia thing because not everyone deserves a Julia theme. Like if Violet died,
Yeah, she doesn't.
she doesn't deserve. Yeah,
no.
But literally, this is the first time this storyline I think has been done in a show with Edrum syndrome. I know, this storyline where they can't deliver the baby has to die. That has happened, but this should have been the Julia theme, where we see Whitney and Zach hold the baby, they both cry, and then
yeah.
That's how I would have ended the episode. Not the lesbians kissing, the bisexual and the lesbian kissing. Because for me, it's hard to go from like, okay, so we have this child who's literally died, but here's two women kissing. Get out your cock sledge and jerk it off. And you're like, a child has died. A child.
Yeah, it probably could have done with having the final scene, but you know, this scene's about bringing together two people. As we shall continue and talk about this more afterwards. Everyone at the wedding prays in Punjabi or Punjab as Nish asks if Suki is okay. And Whitney wants to see her baby, and they cry with happiness and sadness. The celebrations continue in the square with drums and everyone dancing through the street. And Suki says that she needs a touch of makeup. Bobby Beale and Freddie are... Oh, sorry. Bobby B and Freddie are dancing in a funny little, like, Freddie just like, mate, just dance. And Bobby's like, I don't, it doesn't work. And then Freddie's like, come on, man, just go for it. And even Nish joins him. Fun little scene.
I might dislike Nish, but he dances like Vince McMahon. Sorry, I know that might sound racist. I don't know if it is racist, but
Mhm.
he completely dances like Vince McMahon. He does the proper
It's not. It's not
Vince
racist. It's fine.
he does the proper Vince McMahon when Vince McMahon won the ECW championship. He does the proper dance like Vince, or when he does the stand back.
Yeah.
Now people
And
might think it's racist because people might go, well, actually, it's the culture's way of dancing. I'm not making fun of the culture. I'm just saying
just making fun of just that scene.
the
It's fine.
dance.
And
Yeah, Nish dancing.
Whitney and Zach talk about baby Peaches, and they decide to call her Peach. They apologize to Peach and wish it was different. They say that Peach is perfect and that they'll always be their little girl. And Whitney thanks Peach for making her a mummy.
Is it too soon to say that they should get a refund on the stroller?
Oh, that's that's rough.
Just saying, you're not going to use it.
Oh. But yeah, probably could have used the Julius theme if they didn't have what comes up next, which I think has been a long time in the running. But yeah, a good scene and a good showing of losing a child, even if it like hadn't, because it still had been born. They did lose a child, and we're gonna see the after effects of this probably for a little while. And
Um,
maybe there's a Christmas baby with Whitney and Zach.
Ash does not like to say this, just would not like to admit this, but he said, and I quote, Lola will be the first official death on Watching Walford. Well, I just want to say, you're wrong. A child died first.
Yeah,
So
Peach
technically,
did die.
even though it's technically the man who died at Christmas, Peach is the first official death.
Very true, unfortunately. But like we said, I think it was a very important thing to show of the process of losing a child and how heartbreaking it could be to have to undergo the termination. I don't know if it's ever been shown as in detail as this has been. And I think that's been really important and really good to educate people. Because it's a hard thing. Obviously, I can't speak from experience, but losing a child, probably one of the worst things in the world to do.
It does depend on how the child goes, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because look, if the child is a well-known criminal, you're not going to be like, "Well, I'm
Well,
sad." I
well,
know you'd still be
you're
sad.
still gonna be sad regardless. Your child's
Yeah,
your child. Like,
yeah, but
unless
if
he
he's a
just cut
criminal
off
and he
contact.
murdered 6 people and then shot up a shop, you're not really going to be like, "Oh, but he was misunderstood."
I mean, it just you have made this child, and you have like fed the child, you've raised the child. It's a big. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants their child to die before them,
No,
and it would be very rough, especially because Whitney's a first-time mum, and I assume Zach's a first-time dad as well. So this is the first time they were just starting to get to grips with it. They were just starting to build this life together with Peach on the way, and now it's just been cruelly taken away from them due to no
but
fault of their own.
but and I don't mean to be rude, but I bet there is some assholes. I will call you assholes who will make this about abortion rights. There will be some asshole who will make it about abortion rights. That women shouldn't have a choice. There will be someone who does turn this. I don't want to say positive, but this emotional thing into about abortions.
Yeah, probably. But it is the internet, and people like to take specific moments that they want to have and then hold it above everyone else. And that's not
But
really.
how I will put it, how I always put it, an abortion is basically like you. How can I explain this? You love a dog, don't you? You love a dog. You love him. You pet him. Yeah, you cuddle him. you feed them, you scratch them. You know what I mean? You love the dog.
Yes,
So you love Joey, correct? Joey is
indeed,
your dog.
indeed.
If Joey was in pain, would you keep Joey alive? Let's be honest. If Joey was in pain right now, his legs started breaking, his
Yeah,
bowels started exploding, would you keep him?
obviously not. He would be
Put
put
That's
down
how I
and
view
laid to
abortion.
rest. Yeah.
Yeah. Abortion is basically women who can't comprehend being a mother, and
Hmm.
they love their child, but for them, it's their choice to be like, I love my child, but I'm either too old or too young to do this. I can't do it.
I mean,
That's how I view it. It's like you love a dog. It's the same thing. I know people will go, it's a fetus. It's not until 8 or 10 weeks.
I mean,
But
I wasn't expecting to get into the all abortion topic here, but we
yeah,
just
but
keep it
someone was going to
vaguely
bring it up
short.
in the comments.
But it's the idea that it should still be, you should still have a choice. Because,
Yeah,
in some situations, some people have been sexually assaulted, and that turns into a pregnancy. Now, some people may raise this child and still love them, but it could also be very traumatic for this person to deal with that. Some people just aren't in the place to care for a child and should have the choice to go, okay, like, like, this sucks, but ultimately it just wouldn't be a right time to bring up a baby in these conditions. It's a baby is a very firm, strong commitment, and the right to be able to decide whether you can actually provide for said child should not be taken away from you. And I'd always say the woman has the final choice. Not to say that whoever got them pregnant doesn't have a choice. They do definitely have a choice if they're on speaking terms. But ultimately, you should always have a choice.
the dad should have a choice, but the dad's input should not be overstated by the woman, is what we're trying to get across.
Yeah,
The dad does have a say, but it's not his decision to be like, shut up, I'm right, we're having the
yeah.
child.
It's like
It's up to the mother to be like, look, Gerald,
I mean,
sit down, let's be civil. You get a cup of tea, I'll get a cup of tea. This is not right. I don't want the child. I'm sorry. I know you would love it. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be shut up. You're having
I
the
mean, it's
child.
the
I
idea that
don't care about your feelings.
the
You're
uh
having the child.
the father isn't the one carrying the child for 9 months.
No.
And obviously, it
Even
could be
though
harsh to be, maybe people would be sad if a baby's decided to not be had, and that's fair enough. But it's still, Anyways, do you have any other stuff before we wrap this up?
hopefully, and I don't know, we might have helplines for people who've been affected by this. I don't know if Ash will do that, but hopefully he will. We'll have
Um,
helplines for people who've been affected in the
yeah,
UK and
we
Ireland.
should have to do that, but you will have to remind me to do this,
I'll send you a
as it has
message.
been a very long week and I'm very tired. But regardless, and just just to sandwich the abortion talk with the final scenes of the episode, as Suki proceeds to slink away to the Slaters and is welcomed in by Eve. Without even saying anything, Suki plants a kiss on Eve, and Eve tells her that she can. But Suki says, "I was wrong to deny how she feels," And they hug and embrace, and she says, "It's you, it's you." Oh, Jesus Christ. She says, "It's you, Eve. You're all I've ever wanted."
Aw.
As they've finally gotten together after all this time. But the main issue is, how long is it going to be a secret for before Nish finds out?
A day.
All right, and
Listen,
that was episode 9 of Watching Walford. Before we go any further, do you want to? You mentioned the idea of baby name. I've thought of some baby names I like.
go on.
Um, I've always liked the name of like Amelia. Amelia's a good name. I think it's a good name. I've always kind of liked Lily as like a girl, with one L. Um, I was always stuck on boy names, but another name that I also enjoy a lot is Robin, and that could
Oh,
kind of go either way. So those are some of my enjoyed like child names. Do you have any?
um, I always want to name my child after the people who are important in my life. So obviously, I would start off with my mom figures. So I name them after that. So it'd be
Yeah,
Samantha, and then my father, who I'm not going to dox. I'm not going to give out his name.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
not dead. So,
That's nice.
so
That's
yeah.
nice.
And then we would get to my nanny. I'd call them Megsy, because Megsy's a gender neutral name. Megsy can be a woman and a boy. Um, and then if I had any more, I'd start to name them like Ash,
Oh,
James, Matthew,
yeah,
Ellie, like that.
yeah. Fair
I've
enough.
always liked the name Elizabeth. I think
Elizabeth's good name.
uh, there's a lot of names I'd like.
Yeah. Oh, it's just surprisingly,
Jason is a good name.
surprisingly wholesome, honestly.
Yeah,
I would not call my kid Ash though. I would not be
I'd
doing
have to
that.
call them Ashley, not Ash.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm called Ashley anyways. I just don't go by it.
When his mom was born in Wales, he was like, "Is that a penis?" His mom was like, "Is that a penis or a vagina?" It's both. Oh, Ashley, it is.
Yeah. Um, I suppose just to get back into it, that was a very genuinely good week of EastEnders. Very hard hitting and a lot of storylines that are actually moving on in a satisfying way. A good amount of comedy, good amount of serious stuff, and a good amount of like social issues based. So, what did you think of the week?
It was a good week. We've talked about some serious issues, and um, we somehow were respectful. I understand we made a few jokes, but we were all in all respectful because at the end of the day, comedy makes us all laugh.
Yeah, exactly. It's there are a lot of very serious issues, and a way that people get through a lot of them is just by making jokes because it's a lot more fun to laugh than it is to cry.
Yeah,
So and obviously if we were kind of dumb about any of these issues, or you know, if anybody feels like we were a little out of touch or a bit too if we didn't treat the issues with a degree of the like seriousness that it needed to be, obviously tell us because ultimately we are covering things, and I'm not saying we're completely out of our depth, but we do try our best to be as respectful as we can because like we said, these are genuine issues that happen to people like every day. So we would never aim to just make light or belittle these things when they are genuinely important to know. So just thought I'd put that out there.
yeah.
Do you have anything else before we get into the award section?
I feel like this week we shouldn't do an award section.
Okay.
Just be, just be. Obviously, when Lola passes, whenever a death happens, unless it happens in a comedic way, out of respect, there won't be an award section because it doesn't feel right to be like, and the Steve Blackman Award goes to each. And you're like, oh, piggy
Yeah,
boy.
Jesus, that would be quite egregious. Would that be? Yeah. So no award section this week. We had the wedding, we had the birth and death of Peach, Whitney, and Zach's child, and God, it was a good week, but it was pretty rough. It was a pretty serious one. We had the comedy with Patrick and Vi, but ultimately, it doesn't feel as good this week as it did last week. No sad Reese, or no Reese to ease our spirit. But regardless, that has been another episode of Watching Walford, episode number 9. We're in double digits next week, Piggy.
Oh,
We will have officially been doing it for 10 weeks. Amazed we made it here.
Oh my, it's been pretty good to do this. People don't genuinely know how, it's going to get emotional, but I figured we've told some funny stories. It's time to get personal. For people who don't know, I suffer a lot with depression. Ash knows that.
Yes.
And basically, these have helped me. I understand it's a bit hard. I have to watch EastEnders, but at least I get to belittle the actors and go, he wasn't good this week, she wasn't good this week. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, I mean that's good. I mean, likewise, been many a battle with anxiety and depression, and we started off the year feeling good. Not currently feeling as good, I'll be honest. Some personal things have crept up, which has kind of cranked up the anxiety and depression, which haven't been ideal. But likewise, doing all of these projects are a great way to just spend some time thinking about stuff that's not that's not like actually happening. It's very fun to build up these characters in your head and write all these, like go through all these notes and add all of the details to it to kind of be like, yeah, this is why this means something. So it's always been a fun way to just output something. And I've obviously always wanted to talk about EastEnders, so it's always just it's a good outlook. I've always wanted to talk about soaps, so and it's a good way to talk about serious issues, and it's a
Yeah,
good way to educate yourself. Because ultimately, if you just watch the show and you didn't pay attention to any of the serious stuff, you're not really doing the show much justice.
soaps are supposed to make you laugh and cry when you need to cry. Soaps are basically what happens in the world, but either funny, like Danny Dyer literally, and I'll always bring this up. It can be funny in the sense where Danny Dyer or Mick Carter, sorry, Mick Carter, where Mick Carter could have prevented his death by bringing the passport company or the agency on the 27th and being like, look, my passport's been stolen.
Yeah,
Or it can be sad like Baby Peach. That's
indeed.
what I love about soaps. But yeah, Danny Dogger's death, like, if we were doing this at Christmas, there would have been an award segment because Danny Dogger's technically not dead,
Mm.
even though people think he's going to die at Christmas, which I can't see Danny Dyer and his ego
It's not
being like,
happening.
yeah, his ego is too fragile. He'll be like, I'm not coming back to die. F off.
Yeah. And I suppose thank you all for watching Walford. Obviously, we got a bit of a spike from the content we made around the 38th anniversary, and I hope a lot of you have been enjoying. This one was a bit more personal, honestly, a bit more serious, a bit less jokes. Got a bit haywire at the start. Been much more of a podcast feel than just reading notes kind of feel. So yeah, and obviously, if any of the issues have affected you on this week's Watching Walford, we will be putting numbers in the description to talk to essentially services that will cater to like an unplanned pregnancy and stuff relating to that. So if you do need any of that support, follow through in the description. But regardless,
And
we have been watching Walford. I have been Ash, and I've been joined by Piggy.
I'm Jason. Nice talking to you.
See you next time.